welcome to the news on Magic Bricks Now, India's first property channel. I'm Amita Balchandra. Let's first take a look at the top headlines at this hour. The Maharashtra government has made it mandatory for all new buildings to install solar water heaters. This is part of its 2,600 crore rupee push to promote solar energy in the state. Mantri Realty's creditors seek the Bombay High Court's nod to sell the company's assets and recover their dues. On the occasion of Republic Day, we tell you what your rights are as a home buyer in our special report, Know Your Rights. And the War of the Cities is headed for a showdown. The final list of 20 cities will be out soon. As the momentum builds up, we get you a ground report on the country's biggest reality show. Straight up, the Maharashtra government has decided to make solar water heaters compulsory for all new buildings. Now, the emphasis is on promoting use of solar energy in various sectors, for which the Maharashtra cabinet has sanctioned over 2,682 crore rupees. Arun Rangaswamy sent us this report.
Well, the Maharashtra government recently approved an energy policy that will provide SOPs for solar power generation and will encourage both the public and private sector to tap into this renewable source of energy in a much bigger way. The urban civic bodies and also the sanctioning authorities have been asked to change the development control rules to ensure that all the construction permissions are given to only those projects who will make sure that the solar water heaters are set up in the projects. And as a part of this plan, a budget over the next 5 years, a budget of rupees 2,682 crores have been given as a subsidy to government offices and also to people living below the poverty line. And as a part of this, the government will give 100% subsidy to government and semi-government offices, while for the private sector, the subsidy will range on an average of 15% only. Well, an expert committee of consultants will be set up by the government to help in drawing project outlines and also to get a financial closure. And as a next move, 2 villages in remote areas will be chosen as a part of the pilot on a pilot basis, and it will also make sure that they meet a complete energy requirement through this solar energy power. And if everything goes according to plan, the government is actually looking at saving around 500 megawatts of energy in the next 5 years.
Moving on to a case that we've been following here on Magic Bricks Now, Mantri Realty's creditors are seeking the Bombay High Court's nod to sell assets and recover their dues. Now remember, the official liquidator has been asked to take possession of all the assets of the builder and bank accounts, since the High Court has slapped a case against the company for not paying up the interest and principal amount in Jan 2014. Now Ruchi Deshpande gets us more details. Ruchi, tell us what the update is so far.
Now, Mantri Realty's creditors have proposed that they sell the company assets to recover dues due to the non-payment or defaulting on the interest as well as payments. Remember, Mantri Realty owes dues up to 300 crore rupees due to the defaulting on interest and payments. Now, just to tell you the kind of properties that they have earmarked in order to sell them, they have land parcels in Girgaon as well as Walkeshwar, which is in South Bombay, as well as unsold apartments and shops in Goregaon, which is in Western Bombay. Now, the Bombay High Court has asked the creditors to shortlist the buyers in order to polish off these assets, and the creditors have to put together all the data and submit the proposal in the next 2 weeks. When we spoke to the advocate who is representing Mantri Realty in this case, he said that it will take them at least 4 weeks, which is 2 more than what the Bombay High Court has ordered, to get in place all the data from the registered office, but they are looking to meet the court's deadline of submission of 2 weeks. Then we also learned that the next hearing for this case will come up in mid-February, that is February 15. So we shall keep you posted at Magic Bricks Now as to what happens with this case.
All right, thank you for those details, Ruchi. Now it's time to move on to our special report, Know Your Rights. Now, buying a home can be a complex process. Choosing the right location for that right budget can itself take up most of your time as a home buyer. However, the process of buying a home does not end there. Home buyers must also factor in several other things once that decision is made. Rukmini Krishna joins us with more details. Rukmini, give us a list of things a home buyer needs to know before buying that dream home.
Well, Amita, the first thing that you need to do is you need to gloss over your home purchase agreement, and you need to ensure that your home purchase agreement has the name of the builder, the date of the agreement, the location, the carpet area, all the various costs that you will need to bear as a home buyer while you're buying this property, and also the date of possession. So on handing over the house, the next step that you will have to do is you will have to get an occupancy certificate from the builder. Now this certificate is necessary for you to pretty much register your house. After you've gotten your occupancy certificate, the next thing that you have to do is you have to ensure that you have all of your documents in place. Which are these documents? Well, they are the completion certificate, the property tax papers, a letter from your society, and most importantly an identity card. So once you have all of these documents in place, the next thing that you need to do is you need to go ahead and register your property, because unless you register your property, it's not legally or even lawfully in your own name. So you have to remember that it is very important to register it, because if you do not register this property, not only will your sale deed be termed illegal, but the previous owner of this property will be deemed as the legal owner of it. So you need to go ahead and you need to pay your stamp duty, which is about 5 to 12.5%, and you will also need to pay a 1% registration fee. So remember, you have to do this so that you can pretty much keep the house as yours and that it is legal. So also another important thing to keep in mind is, like we always tell you here at Magic Bricks Now, before you sign that dotted line, ensure that you seek professional help to ensure that everything is going smooth and fine.
All right, thank you for those details, Rukmini. To give us more perspective on this, we have Vinay Singh, tax and legal expert, joining us on Magic Bricks Now. Vinay, thank you so much for joining us here. First question to you, what are the things one needs to keep in mind before signing a home purchase agreement?
There are many things that you need to keep in mind. Very first thing being that once you sign that agreement, you would largely be bound by the terms that you agreed to. So it is always a good idea that you hire a lawyer who will vet the agreement for you. Make sure that there is clarity on things like when you are supposed to pay the monies, what is the construction schedule, when your possession will be given to you, and in the event there is a shortage of material or anything of the sort, then whether this is counted as a force majeure event where the builder will absolve himself for the delays by saying that this was beyond my control. Everything is not beyond his control. Certain things are, like natural calamities. So these are a few basic things that you need to work out before you sign the agreement.
All right. Also, Vinay, once you get your agreement in place, should a buyer focus on getting his occupancy certificate or completion certificate in place? What would your advice be?
Yes, that is very critical. Now, the occupancy certificate is a document you get once your construction is complete. So hence it is very important that when you are signing the document, you make sure that he has his plans in place so that there is no delay, and then it is possible to predict that how much time will it take for this construction to be completed, for the occupancy certificate to be obtained, and therefore for you to get possession, because the builder cannot give you possession nor can you take possession unless the occupancy certificate is obtained from the relevant corporation or whichever planning authority sanctions the plans.
All right. Now, like Rukmini was just mentioning there, that registering your property is the most critical aspect here. Tell us what the rules are for governing registration. Also, what are the hurdles a home buyer could face while registering a property?
The Registration Act is something which is mandatory. It's a central act and it applies across India. Now, the reason for that act is that if you register your documents, then it is easy for anybody to go and verify from the sub-registrar's office and trace out the title. So this is a very critical part of the entire system, and registration is mandatory for all documents of the value of rupees 100 or more in India. So you must make sure that you follow the law, because Supreme Court has given a judgment in 2011 that from October 11, if you do not do it, the act will be implemented strictly, which means that even despite paying money, you will not have the title. So it is in your best interest for title purposes to make sure that you register. Also, all that you have agreed with the builder, once the document is registered, that is now binding upon the builder to comply with. Today what happens, they just sign off a receipt or give you a small receipt or an MOU or some letter of allotment. These are not documents which you can use to enforce your rights fully. Consumer courts may support you, but it's not, you cannot enforce it fully. So once there is a proper agreement which is registered, I think that would help protect the flat buyer better than anything else that I can think of.
All right, Vinay, lastly, give us your checklist of what you think a home buyer must do before signing that dotted line.
The very first thing that the buyer must do is ensure that the builder has his plans approved, because unless the plans are approved, nothing is going to happen. Ideally, the plans approval is followed by an intimation of disapproval, which is your starting point for demolishing existing structures and starting the construction work. So you must also check if the IOD is available with the builder. See, once the plans are approved and IOD is in place, then you can predict safely that all right, the builder might take 12 months or 24 months, whatever it is, to construct the building. So you must check the plans, you must make sure IOD is there, you must make sure that you conduct a search on your account, not get it done from the builder's lawyer or the bank or the institution who's funding you from their lawyer. No, you must hire a lawyer and you must get it done independently, so that you are sure that the title of the land is clear, the builder has all the rights available to him to construct the building, so that there won't be any impediment later on. So these are, of course, as I've said earlier, you must hire a lawyer to vet the agreement and guide you through the process before you sign on the dotted line. Point out clauses which either are not required to be there, should be removed, or might be changed to some extent to make it at least equitable. Otherwise, generally agreements tend to be very one-sided in favor of the builder.
All right, Vinay, thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks Now. Now, the Ishwar Committee set up to simplify the Income Tax Act has good news for both builders and buyers. The recommendations could reduce your tax burden on property transactions. This could be a game changer for the real estate industry. So, what are those tax-friendly recommendations? Here's a report.
Even as the government is looking to bring about tax reforms, good news is that the taxes you pay as a home buyer could become simpler. Ishwar Committee report aims to simplify various provisions of the Income Tax Act and has come up with recommendations for tax-friendly laws. The first recommendation has to do with calculating capital gains tax on property that you have sold. Now, even tax experts are confused. Do you calculate from the date of sale or from the date the sale was registered? That is, when you paid stamp duty on the transaction. The Ishwar Committee has tried to clear this. It recommends that you now calculate capital gains tax on your property from the date you registered it. Second, the committee recommends doing away with the double taxation system. Only sellers will have to pay capital gains taxes. Buyers should be exempt. Third, TDS or tax deducted at source for developers would be reduced to 5% from 10%. What does this mean to you as a home buyer? How are your taxes going to get simpler? Let's assume you have a property worth 50 lakhs in Mumbai. Let's say that you bought this property on 20th of January 2015. If you registered your property only on 26th of January 2015, then the taxes you pay on capital gains will be computed from 26th of January. Second, if the seller is already paying capital gains tax, you as a buyer need to do so. Additionally, the committee recommends that TDS rates for developers reduce to 5%, which is relief to the industry and hopefully the buyer will also benefit.
What government has recommended is a reduction in rate from 10% to 5% is more likely to benefit the developers or the contractors or the builders. How it will benefit? Because if a higher tax is being deducted at 10% and your actual tax liability is much lower than the what tax has been deducted, then obviously one had to file first return. After filing return, one had to get a refund, which used to take sort of maybe a couple of years from the date when tax gets deducted. So it was a long drawn procedure, and if assessment happens, then it takes further time. So to simplify this, government has suggested that why not reduce the withholding rate from 10% to 5%.
Alright, with that, it's time now to move on to our special series, War of the Cities. Now, the top 20 list of smart cities is slated to be out any day this week, and we eagerly await for it at Magic Bricks Now. We are also going to take a look at the year gone by and how far this mission has progressed. My colleague Deepa Rana sent us this report on the year gone by. Take a look.
15 lakh citizens. Yes, 15 lakh citizens have submitted their suggestions online on mygovernment.in to the civic bodies suggesting how they can make their cities smart. The Smart City Mission, which was announced last year, has totally changed the way the citizens look into their city and the way they engage in with their city where they live in. Out of all of these suggestions which came online, it was not from the metro cities like Delhi or Mumbai, but from smaller cities like Raipur, Kota, Bhopal, Haldia, etc. There were about 1 lakh citizens writing for these cities almost every week. Now, in Pune alone, out of 13 lakh suggestions, 4 lakh citizens had written to make Pune smart. Now, on one hand, where we have citizens writing in to make their cities smart, it is also countries like France, like US, Japan, who are also pitching in to fund and make Smart City Mission a success. The France president, who's already here and is going to attend the Republic Day celebrations, has pitched in about 1 million euros to make the Smart City Mission a success. There are also other countries like Singapore and Spain who are pitching in, but all eyes are now on the Urban Development Ministry, which should announce the list of 20 smart cities soon.
Meanwhile, the Government of India announced the list of Padma Awards on January 25th. Now, two stalwarts of the real estate industry also feature in this list this year. Renowned architect, Hafiz contractor and developer Palunji Shapurji Mistry of the Shapurji Palunji Group will be awarded Padma Bhushans. So we at Magic Bricks now celebrate these two awardees by taking a look at their work and contributions towards society. Let's first take a look at the life and times of Shapurji Palunji.
With a legacy spanning 150 years, the Shapurji Palunji Group are the oldest construction company in India. The company is known for constructing some of Mumbai's most celebrated structures like the Bombay Stock Exchange, the Reserve Bank of India, the iconic Taj Mahal Hotel, the Trident Hotel, and many more. Palunji Shapurji Mistry is the chairman of the Shapurji Palunji Group. The 85-year-old head of the SP Group is well known for being low profile and is known as the Phantom of Bombay House. Interestingly, both Palunji Mistry and Hafiz Contractor have a common connector, the Imperial, one of the most coveted addresses and the tallest towers in the country. Of late, Shapurji Palunji has also ventured into the affordable housing sector and plans to build 20,000 affordable homes in the next 8 years.
Now, like we mentioned earlier, Hafiz Contractor has also been awarded the Padma Bhushan. Now, this man is known for changing skylines. Take a look at his repertoire.
Powai's Hiranandani Gardens, Lower Pareil's One India Bulls Centre, Gandhinagar's Gift City, or the Infosys offices at Bengaluru and Mysore. All landmark buildings that owe their existence to an iconic architect, Hafiz Contractor. He's credited with redrawing and redefining city skylines, and rightly so. Take a look at Hiranandani Gardens in Powai. While he definitely is a star among architects, developers use his name to sell homes. He's also known for not having a signature style. His buildings range from the classical Global Education Centre in Mysore to the Bharti Airtel office in Gurgaon, a mammoth structure sprayed with the colours of the brand that it holds. The entire design is focused on vibrant hues, open spaces and lush foliage. Contractor is also credited with building Mumbai's first slum redevelopment project and India's tallest tower till date, the Imperial. His latest offering to his home city in Mumbai's spanking new Terminal 1C. Contractor began his career in 1968 armed with a graduate diploma in architecture and a post-graduation from New York's Columbia University. The Mumbai-based architect has over 70 national and international awards to his name. The Padma Bhushan will be another feather in his cap.
Alright, we've completely run out of time on this show, but if you have any feedback or suggestions for us, write to us on the email IDs flashing on your screens. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. Feel free to tweet to us or post your query on our Facebook page Also, check out our website mbnow.in. The IDs are all on your screens and we would love to hear from you. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News on Magic Bricks Now. Thank you for watching.